So you said you support. We weren't listening, but here like a couple minutes ago now. You know what Thom is? Oh, I brought some orders of service. Let's just do one song for the hymn sing. Let's do that Love Will Guide Us. Do you want to start, or do you want to do the hymn? Do you want to start, or do you want to? I had a hymn sing, but there wasn't anybody here, so let's do one hymn. Good morning. We're going to just start today with just a short hymn sing, literally a hymn sing. We'll just do one hymn. Well, let's do number 131. This is not in your order of service, but before. 131, Love Will Guide Us. We'll give that a try to start things off.
Good morning. Welcome to the Community Church of Chapel Hill, Unitarian Universalist. My name is Eric Conrad. I am a member of the Worship Associates Ministry here at the church. I would especially like to welcome any visitors or newcomers and to call your attention. There's an announcement for you on the back of the order of service entitled Welcome Guests and Newcomers. I would also welcome those of you who are attending online. Lyrics to hymns and all elements of the service may be found on the screen, and a complete order of service, including this week's announcements, is available via the link in the morning email and also on the church website. Our in-person Sunday social is held immediately following the service. Please turn off or silence any cell phones during our service in order to maintain a worshipful experience. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you arrived at this beloved place, you are welcome here. Jay Miller has a Share the Plate announcement for the Interfaith Council for Social Services. Jay?
Good morning. I'm Jay Miller. I'm a member of the congregation and a member of the board of directors of the Interfaith Council. The IFC is the only organization in Orange County that provides emergency shelter assistance for men, women, and families. We also serve hot meals daily and have an extensive food pantry. In addition, we provide emergency financial assistance for community members. IFC also facilitates permanent supportive housing for persons in our community who have experienced chronic homelessness. And we offer a community navigation program that helps make people aware of all the resources available in the area. And this drop-in service also includes access to computers and phones, as well as temporary lockers and access to a shower. We also have a program called Activate that promotes social justice and helps elevate voting efforts, advocacy, and community building. This is a very active organization in our community and highly aligned with our church values. Many of you already volunteer at IFC, and we have a rich history of support from members of this congregation. I hope you will join me as a volunteer. For all this valuable work that I hope you are now even better aware of, I hope you will consider supporting these programs with a financial contribution today and ongoing. If you are writing a check, please include STP in the memo line, and if you have any follow-up questions about the work we do, please look for me after the service in the Jones building. Thank you.
Invite us to rise in body or in spirit as we sing together number 225 in your gray hymnal, O Come, Emmanuel.
Children dwell, give comfort to all exiles here, and to the aching heart with cheer. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come within as love to dwell. Splendor very bright, as joy that never yields to might. Oh, come and turn all hearts to peace, that greed and war at last shall cease. Rejoice, rejoice, come within as truth to dwell. Oh, come you dayspring, come and cheer our spirits by your presence here, and dawn in every broken soul as vision that can see the whole. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come within as light to dwell. come you wisdom from on high, from depths that hide within a sigh, to temper knowledge with our care, to render every act a prayer. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come within as hope to dwell.
What a joy it is to be able to sing out in this beautifully decorated sanctuary. Many thanks to everyone who made this beauty possible. O come, Emmanuel. The word Emmanuel means God is with us. And this Advent hymn invites this divine presence during a time of need. The Bible stories are stories of a people in captivity and a people in exile. We might reflect on the captives and exiles of today, asylum seekers, those caught up in systems of exploitation and cycles of violence, people forced to hide their identities. The Advent hymn sings of a world scarred by might and greed and war. The lyrics speak of a longing for joy and for peace. Amidst the brokenness in this hymn and the brokenness in our world, the hymn calls for a vision that can see the whole, a vision that does not separate, a vision that honors the divinity and the humanity within each of us. O come, Emmanuel. Liberate the captives. Create safety for exiles. Shame us in our greed and cure us of our lust for power. Give us a vision that can see the whole. O come, let us worship together. The words for our chalice lighting are in your order of service. If you wish to do so, please join me in reading them. We light this chalice to affirm that new light is ever waiting to break through to enlighten our ways. That new truth is ever waiting to break through to illumine our minds. And that new love is ever waiting to break through to warm our hearts. May we be open to this light and to the rich possibilities that it brings us. Today is the second Sunday of Advent. Along with the first candle, which is lighted for hope, we light a second candle for peace. As we light this candle, we aspire to be a caring community that is a source of freedom from violence and exclusion.
In the megaphone, hearts with a purpose, we rise to the calling inside. Another line won't resign, this is our time. stop the tide this time, for our power is on the light, and the strength to say what's right. So we shout, side by side we have arrived. We will survive.
Six, seven, eight. Old plot, new hate, want to turn away.
Long halls build walls and not bridges. Tomorrow's too late.
See the street on the street, cause we're here to stay.
Not a pulse since a shot, it's a moment. The breath has been silenced, now knows what to say. We are rising for our lives, they won't stop the tide this time. For our power is on the light, and the strength to say what's right. So we shout, side by side we have arrived. We will survive. 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 Shout, side by side we have arrived.
We are hunting for our lives, they won't stop the tide this time.
For our power is our light, and the strength to say what's right. So we shout, side by side we have arrived. We are rising for our lives, they won't stop the tide this time. For our power is our light, and the strength to say what's right. So we shout, side by side we have arrived. We will survive. We will survive. We will survive. We will survive. We will survive.
We will survive.
We will survive.
We will survive.
We will survive.
We will survive.
We will survive.
We will survive.
We will survive.
We will survive.
We will survive.
We will survive.
We will survive.
We will survive.
We will survive.
We will
We will survive.
We will survive.
We will survive.
We will
We
survive.
will survive. We will survive.
We will
We will survive.
We will survive.
We will survive. We will survive. We will survive. We will survive.
Each week we hold in our service a time for sharing the joys and the sorrows that we bring with us into this community. It's during this time, if you've come with either a significant personal joy or a significant sorrow, that you're invited to come forward, place a stone in the water bowl, say your name, and briefly share your personal joy or sorrow. This morning, I'm going to place the first 2 stones that were requested to be placed by people within our congregation, and then we'll have time for other joys and sorrows. The first stone that's placed this morning, I'm placing on behalf of Susan and Alan Spalt. Around a week and a half ago, their niece, Lillian, lived with cerebral palsy, died at the age of 19 in Wilmington. And Susan and Alan are down there with gathering with the family. And so we hold Susan and Alan and their whole family in our hearts during this time. And the second stone is placed for Kyle Terrell, who is a member of our church and is a member of our caring ministry. Kyle's mother, Joanne, died last week at the age of 95, and so we hold Kyle in our hearts today.
Good morning. I'm Mike Gilliam and
Bonnie.
Speaking of We Will Survive, my stepbrother, Steve Edwards, and his wife, Joy, a nice name today, also Joy Edwards, lost their house down in Florida and Treasure Island it was called, but the treasure is gone now. Their house was completely destroyed. And Steve and Joy were sending us pictures of piles of their personal belongings, along with refrigerators and so forth, put on the street. And they were told, don't touch anything, don't breathe the air, just get out of there. So I said, would you like to come and stay with us? And I'm happy to report this morning that they've been here 3 weeks as of today, 1 a.m. Sunday 3 weeks ago they arrived with a truckload of beat up stuff. And they're thriving, and they found a church that they can feel comfortable with so far, and I just wanted to share that with you. So I want you to know that Ivy sent me a card from the outreach committee. It said, we're thinking about you, so I immediately sent that to them, and they are so grateful, and they feel somewhat connected so far with our church as well. So they're doing well, living in a little upstairs apartment atop of our above our garage, but they're surviving. So thank you all.
I'm Luke Graysmith, and my son, Atticus, is about to graduate from NC State, and I'm very joyful and proud of him, and hopefully I haven't jinxed it now. He does have a job lined up, though, so I'm proud of that, too.
I think you did good.
Good morning. My name is Maureen O'Rourke. I would love to put all those stones in here for yesterday. My wife Shannon died on October 19th, 2024, but yesterday we had a memorial service that Shannon planned. And it was a beautiful service. Thom gave a wonderful eulogy, and there was such joy. You know, joy and sadness together, and she was here. And everyone said, Shannon did this. And it's such a wonderful, wonderful tribute to Shannon and to the way you can do a memorial service that has this joy and this sadness and this smile and the laughter. So deserving of such a wonderful woman. And thank you all for being a part of our lives for so many years. Thank you.
This is kind of two joys, but also sort of one. My name is Jenny Warnesh. My two great joys. One, I will be having back surgery who thinks that's a joy? Somebody who's in extreme pain and can't dress themselves for 3 months. So I don't know, I don't have the date yet. We're waiting on insurance approval, but I'll be getting a discectomy eventually. My other joy is just how wonderful the people around me are. My husband's been dressing me. People at work yell at me when I'm about to do something stupid that might hurt myself. I was walking home from work the other day, and Carlos Bailey didn't even know it was me. He was driving, saw me hobbling up to my parking space, and asked me if I needed a ride. And thank you, Carlos. So it's just so people are, you know, still really, really good. Thank you.
A final stone is placed for all the joys and the sorrows that we hold in our hearts that were not spoken this morning. Amidst the joys and the sorrows of our lives, amidst the loss of loved ones, amidst the celebration of those dear to us, amidst those struggling with health, searching for healing, amidst each of us serving one another, doing what we can to make life a little easier. Amidst this community, where we help one another to survive, to thrive, to become our fullest selves. I invite us to take a moment to let our joys and our gratitude, our burdens and our fears, to be fully felt within our hearts. As we hold a time of silence, we remember that we are not alone. And that others who love us are around and with us. Let us take a moment of silence to be fully present. I invite you to be still with me for a few moments. Amen. And blessed be. For our hymn this morning, we're going to sing, we usually pick sort of a slow and meditative one, but I actually picked a kind of an upbeat hymn for us to sing. It's called Building a New Way. And it's in our teal hymnal, and I invite us to rise and embody your spirit and join in singing.
reading is from Jacob Trapp. This is the season when the child in the heart of all of us awakens and the embers of long-forgotten dreams are blown into flame. The tramp of the legions is stilled. The Caesars lie in dust, but the light from that humble stable shines warm and bright. Something old and almost lost amid the clutter of the years is calling from the skies and across the fields of snow. The night winds are stilled, and in the darkness, in the darkened heavens, the stars foretell of lengthening days and the birth of spring after the winter's cold. This is the sign that the light of hope, which shines in the dimness of our broken dreams, will never fade or die. Oh, stretch your hands, palsied by fear, and with the simple trust of the child, grasp another's hands and walk the way together. Through the darkness, press in upon us, and the promise of Christmas comes like an echo of music upon the wind. Let our hearts remember that loveliness, that light. Freely have we received gifts that minister to our needs of body and spirit. Gladly we bring to our church and its wide concerns a portion of this bounty. In addition, we have a share the plate for the Interfaith Council. If you wish to donate to that, please write STP on the memo line of a check. There's a QR code on the back of the order of service for those who want to donate online. We will now receive the morning offering.
There are more waters rising, this I know, this I know. There are more waters rising, this I know. There are more waters rising, they will find their way to me. There are this I know. I will rebuild the mountains when they find their way to me. I will rebuild the mountains, this I know, this I know. I will rebuild the mountains, this I know.
During this time of challenge and crisis in our state, in our nation, in our world, we have a great many people visiting this church for the first time, or returning for the first time, or checking out this community anew. Perhaps, as the reading said, looking for others' hands to grasp so that we might walk the way together. If you're one of those people checking us out, welcome, first of all, and I look forward to getting to know you and answering questions that you may have about this community and about our faith tradition. I think one of the questions that people who are checking us out often have is, so what kind of church is this exactly? Are you Christian? Are you Christianish? Are you non-Christian? Multi-faith? And if you're not Christian, then why do you make such a big deal out of Christmas? The answer to that is complicated, of course. Both Unitarianism and Universalism originated as heretical Christian denominations. And somewhat ironically, just as Unitarianism was stretching beyond Christianity in the 1800s, just as Unitarianism was opening to transcendentalism and romanticism and the religious traditions of the East, those same Unitarians were also inventing the practice of Christmas as we would recognize it today. The practice of the Christmas tree was brought to the United States from Germany by a Unitarian minister. The famous Christmas song, "O Holy Night," was translated from the German to the English by a Unitarian minister. And Christmas songs, "It Came Upon the Midnight Clear," and "Jingle Bells" were written by Unitarians. Kind of reminds me of a Jewish friend of mine who loves this time of year because he gets to listen to Christmas music all the time. I asked him about this, and he said, "Thom, all those great Christmas songs were written by Jews. I'm connecting with my heritage. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire? Jewish. White Christmas? Jewish. Silver bells? Jewish. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? A Jew wrote that one too." Thanks for laughing, or giggling, a few of you. Our membership is diverse. It includes some who grew up Christian and want absolutely nothing to do with the religion of their childhood, and it includes some who grew up Christian and continue to feel an affinity and a warmth and a connection with the tradition they grew up in. Our membership includes those who grew up Jewish, those who grew up outside of organized religion, and those who grew up exploring different faith traditions. Our membership includes those who've pursued different spiritual practices, including Buddhism, humanism, neo-paganism, and religious naturalism. And our membership includes those who grew up Unitarian Universalist, as I did. This is all to say we are a blend, a jumble, and ministers in this tradition. As a minister in this tradition, I have both the wonderful privilege and the onerous burden of trying to say something and offer something that speaks to all, while at the same time staying within both the limits of my knowledge and, more importantly, within the limits of my authenticity. This is all to say that this morning I'm going to speak about the Bible and Jesus and the Christian tradition. I'm not apologizing for that, but I'm also not assuming that everyone or even many of us feel a deep connection with that tradition. But I do want to this morning evoke a way of approaching the story of Jesus' life that speaks to us in these times that we're living. The story of Jesus of Nazareth is the story of an individual and the story of a community and the story of a people living under the crush of empire. It's the story of an individual, a community, and a people trying to figure out how to live, indeed how to survive within this reality. Jesus, after all, is born under a mortal threat from the empire's rulers. Jesus lives his life and engages his ministry within the context of a people living under the rule of empire. And Jesus, of course, dies as a victim of empire's violence and brutality. In Matthew's gospel, Jesus' very birth is seen as a threat to empire. No sooner than Jesus is born than King Herod orders the slaughter of all the infants under his rule, lest any of them pose a threat to his power and authority. And in Luke's gospel, empire enters the story even before Jesus is born. Mary's prayer upon learning she is pregnant is to a God, quote, who will bring down the powerful from their thrones and lift up the lowly, who will fill the hungry with good things and send the rich away empty. Those are Mary's words. It's striking that a pregnant Mary would pray for a regime change. But then again, that's not surprising. Who better than a mother to understand the danger that the government poses to her child? In Luke, Jesus' birth narrative begins, in those days, a decree went out from Emperor Augustus that all the world should be registered. It's situated within a story of empire. And Jesus' life in the Gospels is spent interacting with empire. Jesus encounters Roman soldiers and tax collectors, engages in debates with different groups within the Jewish community about how best to live under the Roman Empire's occupation. Some he meets call for violent resistance. Others call for appeasement. Jesus' sayings and teachings and parables speak to the challenges and the dangers of living under Roman rule. And of course, Jesus dies at the hands of empire as well, tried and condemned by Pontius Pilate, crucified by the Roman authorities, tomb guarded by a centurion. Every single part of Jesus' life, from the moment of his conception to his resurrection, is about empire. And the Gospels usually name this truth explicitly. I love that reading by Jacob Trapp that Eric shared earlier. Jacob Trapp in this reading is explicitly anti-imperialist. The promise of Jesus' birth is that the tramp of legions might be stilled and the Caesars lie in the dust. Renowned biblical scholar John Dominic Crossan wrote a book placing the lives of Jesus' earliest followers within the struggle against empire. The subtitle, How Jesus' Apostles Opposed Rome's Empire with God's Kingdom. John Dominic Crossan writes of this early history, Rome was not the evil empire of its ancient time. It was not the axis of evil in a Mediterranean place. Rome was not the worst thing that had ever happened to its pre-industrial world. Rome was simply the normalcy of civilization within first century options and the inevitability of globalization within first century limits. But this is the crucial point for this book, Crossan continues. Who they were then and there, we are here and now. We are in the 21st century what the Roman Empire was in the 1st century. Crossan goes on to compare two worldviews. One is an imperial worldview, and the other is anti-imperial. The imperial worldview was known as the Pax Romana, the peace of Rome. The peace of Rome goes like this: we conquer you, you submit to us, we let you live in peace, as long as you're conquered and submitted. It's like a mob protection scheme on the geopolitical scale. Pay us, and we won't let anybody hurt you. And by the way, we're the ones threatening to hurt you. Crossan contrasts that with what he calls the Pax Christi, the peace of Christ. And that term may make us uncomfortable, and for good reason, because 300 years after Jesus was born under the crush of empire, lived under the crush of empire, and died at the hands of empire, Christianity aligned itself with empire. But before Christianity aligned itself with empire, there was the anti-imperialist teachings of Jesus, grounded in justice and acceptance. I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you cared for me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me and released me. Whatever you do for the least of these, you do for me. I found these words written by a Unitarian Universalist minister in Maine. Her name is the Reverend Mikey Johnson. These words were written in early 2020 during the first weeks of the pandemic. She reflects, "In my feelings of powerlessness, an old friend comes to me. Jesus comforts me by reminding me that in many ways I am powerless. I cannot control what my government is doing right now, and the idea that it is my government is an illusion. Democracy itself has become an illusion, a thin veneer over oligarchy and over fascism. Jesus," she continues, "had no political power. He lived his whole life in the shadow of the Roman Empire, and that empire killed him. Yet he was able to respond and to act. Jesus prayed and taught and healed the sick and listened and moved among the people, especially among the people in lowly places. He didn't concern himself very often with the emperor or the king or the governor. He was clear that those powers were evil. Rather, he went directly to the poor, to the oppressed, the sick. Those were the ones who caught the eye of divine blessing." And what of us today? And what of us today? As we come into a sanctuary festooned with lights and trees and candles and bells and the joy of this season, let us also remember in our hearts what the story is about. It is the story about how to live in a hard world, a scary world, how to render unto God what is God's, even as we live in a world that mocks that spirit of the divine which resides within each of our hearts. As we enter into this Christmas season, let us remember these stories, and let us remember this strength, and let us give thanks for our diversity and for the many who come to join hands to walk together in this place. Amen. And blessed be. And our closing hymn this morning, we began with a hymn about Emmanuel, and we'll end with a hymn of liberation and joy and resistance. I invite us to rise in body or in spirit and sing number 151 in the gray hymnal, I Wish I Knew How.
The words for extinguishing the chalice are in your order of service. Please join with me if you wish to do so. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Let's take a moment to thank all those who contributed. They never let me finish those words. Please join in singing Shalom. The words are in your order of service. As you are comfortable, please either hold hands with the person next to you or cross your arms over your heart.